what is going to be the consequence of what comes to you. How will you transform it? Will you let it stuck inside of you when it slowly eats you up from the inside? Or do you make something different about it? And this is based on the thoughts, on the mental redirectioning of yourself. Hope is really, really deeply embedded, where internally you don't care about what 8 billion other people say. You have it, and you will do it. It's about understanding that this world that we are living in, simply expressed, there's always an exchange between the left side and the right side, the bad side and the good side, the negative and the positive, the pessimistic and the optimistic. That's why for me, those two, they always belong together. And it is normal for me that sometimes circumstances are bad, but I also know, at the moment, but it's an exchange. Sooner or later it will be also becoming good again. Now I'm a little bit depressive, but it's gonna change. Same way is, now everything is positive, but I know it's gonna change. Things are changing. Nothing ultimately stays as it is. That's why I'm not sure if it is a positive mindset that I would propagate. My mindset would be that you are neither stuck in a negative one, but you're also not stuck in a positive one. So your perspective, your mindset would be one that at all times always sees the exchange of this one and this one. And sometimes, out of circumstances, out of whatever reason, sometimes it's more based upon here, but then you also know just a question of time, I move here. So to understand the interplay of these two and accept it actually that also the negative part is part of my life. As long as I also take care that it doesn't stay for a too long time in my life, I can have my bad days. Because to push yourself in having positive thoughts, be optimistic, you see people do it, but you can feel they're not. They behave like everything will be great, great life, but I can see inside it's not. You have to be as you are, based with all two forces. It's just that stay calm, nothing stays as it is. See the interplay always of both forces. And then get calm about it. And then, somewhere along the line, maybe it becomes balanced then. Be content, be full, wake up and already be ready. Waking up and knowing everything you need, here it is. Should I not do the things that are available today? Should I not go on the beach if I like to go on the beach? Buy a nice car if I like to buy a nice car? Jump from the parachute if I like to jump? I didn't say that. What I'm saying is, if your satisfaction about life, your fullness of life is dependent on these things, then it's a problem, because they will not be available to you at all times. When I set myself a goal that I really want to have, I have no doubt about it. I only need to have patience. I need to be clear and calm to really figure out the proper plans, how to do. And then there is no doubt, because I feel if I really want something, the energy must be there. My mind must be there. If my mind is there, my energy is there. Whatever is important to you, where your heart is, there is the mind. Where the mind is, so where the intention is, there is the energy. Where the energy is, there's the creation. If your heart is hanging on something, but your actions are doing something else, that just means your energy and what your heart really wants, they are not merging at all. So the universe doesn't know, what do you want? What should the universe give you now? So for me, it's all about alignment. What I feel inside aligns with what I talk. It aligns with what I think. It aligns with what my actions do. It aligns optimally with the proper circumstances. And when everything is aligned, then the energy can just flow. It just flows and it just happens. Maybe it would be good to focus your energy into the things that are 100% based on your own energies and your own actions. In Buddhist teaching, number one is about you yourself become suffer-free, first of all, for yourself. And second one is develop the compassion to help other beings, not just humans, to get along the same path for personal liberation. Why is that compassion so important? Because ultimately we are connected. Put something into your own mind where nobody else has impact on. And only you know that day in, day out, you just still walk this path and feel for yourself how it's getting real. Because it's unbroken. Because there's nobody who can interfere. It's all small things. Stay strong. Still keep going and supporting and helping. Despite of these things. You are becoming more mature. You are becoming more skillful in order to tackle the challenges of life. Sometimes you can't change people around you. But what you can do at all times, every day, is to do something about what is in your own hands. Yourself. Do something about yourself. Develop yourself. Invest in yourself. You grow as a human being. You grow in skills. All of these things, they will naturally just follow. If somebody finds himself in a too dark place, increase the amount of activity. Which means spend a lot of time outside while the sun is shining where there are a lot of people. The opposite is you're in a dark place and you stay at home in your four walls. For some time it's necessary, but this is not going to be the solution. So that means if you by yourself cannot create that light, then we have to somehow try that the circumstances on the outside help you, support you a little bit along this way. And the same goes for the question, if somebody finds himself in that place of darkness. Either you find a way that you can find some light in there and then make it shine brighter from day to day, or you need support. If you are looking for external support, you need to find the persons that already solved this problem, that already went through that darkness, that already had been in that darkness. Because if somebody has never been there, what are the answers, what are the solutions this person giving you? From which fundament are they coming? On behalf of which basis? Sometimes the answers to such questions must come from someone who already had experience in that area. Because all other things are sometimes assumptions, book knowledge, which doesn't mean it's wrong. It's quite different. If you are talking sometimes to people where you know they went through something, this is not talk. It's talk from their experience. Build yourself up. Invest in yourself. Make yourself stable. Figure out your place in the world. And afterwards, when this is established, now enjoy the world. So what is it I'm supposed to do? Who are you at the moment? What are your abilities at this very moment? What do you have available time-wise, financial-wise? It doesn't matter.
In which situation are you right now? We need to see where is our actual location. At least now you have a hint. We want to have something that we would like to create. And how do we make this now happen? Of course, you need a small step-by-step plan. And you break your ideas down into walkable steps. Write it down on paper. One way of giving thoughts and expression. Speaking it out to your friends. More people know about it. Writing it onto your fridge. Something where the thoughts start to enter into your visible world. These are small things that just support you on this mission. The next step would be whatever you would like to achieve there. What skills are necessary? Do you have the skills? Greatness means you want to bring something out of yourself which is not average. This is not what the mass is able to do. Which means your body, yourself, the way how you're thinking, the way how you're training can't be average. I'm not looking for a skill that I can outsource. I'm looking for skills, I have them. And nobody else in this world can copy. If you want to copy, then you need to train. In developing those skills right now, this is the way to make something unique about you. And this uniqueness goes hand in hand with the unbroken willpower that you put into it and with that vision of yourself that this is what you want and this is what you're gonna do. You need to work for it, but also have the mindset that backs up your plan. You can use the mind and create something you have never seen in this world. You are creating something in the mind. You have never seen it in person because it's not existing yet. Yet you can see it here. This can mean a fear also. A fear what's going to happen tomorrow. What will happen to my children if I will not be able to take care of them anymore? So there is something you're projecting already that is not here yet. You are projecting it inside of you, and the feelings based upon that way of thinking makes it real to you. You need to be careful what you're creating on the mind. This is the reason why it's so important to know what are you placing inside the mind. Because it's so powerful. How can you still find something about yourself to still keep going, stay strong, still keep going and supporting and helping despite of these things? And then maybe level 2, you manage to find a way for yourself. And then you're going to be exposed to the next type of challenges that this life is giving to you. So what I'm talking about is that I'm not sure if life is getting easier. I just think that you are becoming more mature. You are becoming more skillful in order to tackle the challenges of life. For every person, there's the right time. There's nothing to hurry, nothing to worry. It's in each individual hands. So what's the problem with the restlessness? You don't gain insight because the monkey all the time is jumping too much and staying too much on that surface area. Now translated, it just means that on an average day, whatever job you are doing, you do it under your possible potential. You can't really embrace what you actually have there. It's like you are at work, you are supposed to concentrate and work, write down your emails, but all the time you're already like jumping around, making plans for the weekend, who to call, or that you're hungry, or that you're thirsty, what movie to watch. This is how you behave when you're at work. Then afterwards you drive home and maybe the family is waiting for you. The children or your wife or your husband want to spend time with you, but they can see very clearly your body is there, your mind is not there. You're just not present. Sometimes the question just is, why do you have then a wife and a husband if you don't pay them the necessary respect and attention that they deserve, or towards your children? If it's a conscious decision why you don't pay attention to them, well, there's something different. Then it's really the question, why do you have one family then? Restlessness can also mean it happens unconsciously. And maybe for you yourself, you don't realize it, but people around you, they realize very quickly if you are with them or not. And I just think that this is hindering you now in that picture of reaching that mountain or reaching that goal. It's hindering you because whatever you do, you don't do it properly. You jump from one to another. You maybe have touched many different surfaces, but you don't really have an insight. Nothing stays as it is. Nothing stays as it is. Just as sometimes things are so overwhelming entering into your life, it can happen the other way around as well. Look back into your personal life. How many bad moments did you have in the past? How many times did you suffer in the past? How often we were already thinking like this is the end of the world, girlfriend left you, boyfriend left you, different occasions, yeah? But none of them stayed. That is like also the other truths behind it. The great part is the way how you are able to use either the imagination or just like the abilities of the mind. Because you can turn it both ways. Either you see it as, why did it come so suddenly? Or you see the opposite. It's going to leave. Of course, in this world we are living, we humans and this society, I think, is more easily being torn towards the positive or towards a very certain side, let's say. But this is because of the developments of our 21st century, where there are certain values being propagated. There is no propaganda in learn how to be poor, learn how to deal with failure, learn how to not be successful, learn how to accept the way how you are, not how to make yourself more beautiful and try to stay beautiful. There is a different agenda going on in the 21st century. And based on that, I do think that the mindset also has shifted, therefore, in trying to fulfill the expectations, what is present in our nowadays world. But it's your personal decision. It's really important for me to really say this again and again. I'm not here to judge whether something is good or whether something is bad. But I'm just saying that if you have placed something upon your mind, that right now you are trying with your lifetime to make it become real. But this is what you're trying to put into this life. It's not even an idea that comes from you. It can go very wrong to one day find out that you have lived a life and invested your lifetime following up on a vision, on an expectation or anything like this, which first of all was never something initially coming from yourself. And afterwards, even if you followed up on it and achieved it, afterwards realize it doesn't give you what you were looking for in this lifetime. Buddhist teaching now is to say, look, all of that stuff inside there, it's not coming from you. Spend some time and learn to empty the cup. Make that cup empty. Then you will realize who you really are, what your essence is, the way how you came to this earth. It's so important to know what are you placing inside the mind, because it's so powerful. Every time one of these mental states pops up into your mind, positive emotion, negative emotion, ill will, you feel depressed, you feel weak, you feel lack of power, you have this restlessness inside of you, or the skeptical doubt coming up. Most important is you need to realize it. You recognize and you realize that at this moment in time, you are finding yourself in one of these mental states which are representing hindrances. Now the next step, what are you doing after you have recognized that you are in it? Now you start to analyze. You do everything that is in your possibilities to ask questions about why did it come up? What did it trigger? When did it exactly come up? How actually did this feeling in the first place get into yourself? When was the first time that you realize that you are having this type of mental state. You try to look into your past. Is it something related to an idea that you caught up from, I don't know from where? This time you go deeper. Accept it, acknowledge it. When you acknowledge something and accept something, it is that you're not pushing it away. You're not resisting it. And the reason for that is, as long as something is not accepted or not acknowledged, it can't be changed, because it is still outside of you. So if I have like a mental state and I say, yes, it's there, but I want to have it gone, then what you're trying to do in this approach is you're separating. You're trying to separate it, but this is not the way this method is expressed. This method tells you, why is it there? It's because something inside of you already is resonating with it. So it's a matter of you. It's your business. So now what you're doing is, I accept the business. I take it. I understand, okay, it's my business. That is the acknowledgement, the acceptance that you are saying, okay, I'm going to take care of it. If you reject it, if you don't embrace it, it can't be changed. You want to become familiar. You want to take that feeling into your family. Make it become part of you. It is a part of you, but maybe it's just a misunderstanding of the way how you saw it before. Investigation of asking questions, finding out more about it. Where does it come from? Who implemented it into your way of seeing the world? And ultimately, the last step is what we call non-identification. Non-identification is that you sometimes need to stand above you and see from that perspective, how can you support yourself to get into the next development stage. You need to trust in what you do. Once you have put something into your mind, don't let anyone else stop it anymore. That if you continuously develop yourself, educate yourself, train yourself, seriously observe yourself, try to be honest with yourself, listen to the opinions of other people, and after all of this, you finally come up with a plan. This one now, don't doubt anymore. The plan that before that you have well thought of, that you have taken time to establish it, where you spend weeks and months of figuring out should you really do it. It is this type of plan where skeptical doubt is not necessary. If you are still in the field or in that area of you are unsure, don't start the journey. If you're still in the field of, that mountain is so high, do you really think I can reach the top? But it looks dangerous. If you're still in that state, don't even start. This evaluation of your risks, all of this, you make that before. You make that in the moment where you still have time and space to look for yourself. Is it really what you want? And make a plan. What is it that fuels your daily actions? What fuels when you walk to the office prepared to do the work? What fuels you waking up every day, even if it's hard, even sometimes you're sick, you still go to the office and do the work? And that fuel is very, very essential. I cannot imagine there is one person existing in this world who in some way has achieved something without an affirmation. It doesn't exist. I think we are all connected. On the one side, I really love this life. As long as I can, I would like to experience the variety of everything that's existing here. But at the same time, I also see it as part of my obligation that if I have a possibility to do something that supports other people along the way, this is what I do. I just think this is what you do in a family. You need a healthy body. That means choose any type of physical activity. It really doesn't matter. It only matters that you understand all your wishes, all your dreams, all the goals that you are putting to yourself, what you want to achieve in this lifetime. They all are not going to matter anymore if your body is not going to be on the earth. Sometimes you can't change people around you. You can't look into the heads of other people. But what you can do at all times, every day, is to do something about what is in your own hands. Yourself. This is why this idea of turn the finger around, do something about yourself, develop yourself, invest in yourself. You grow as a human being, you grow in skills, all of these things, they will naturally just follow. Because in the moment where you are starting to express something that people nowadays are not seeing often anymore, you just become the magnet. Why? Because people are used already to average. Every day they see average. Yeah, but now they start to see something different. They start to see another attitude towards life. And so this feels, I think, like a magnet.
There should be nothing inside a human's mind that is able to drive you if you don't consciously want it. Doesn't matter what it is. No matter if it is an addiction, if it's your partner even. To be driven by something simply means life is not in your hands in that moment. But in order to be able to get the full potential out from you, it should be in your hands. That's the whole point about it. The whole point about why training, why disciplining, is in order to get the full power and potential into your own hands. You are the one who consciously actually wants to build your life. I don't want to outsource it, and therefore I also don't want that my life is being driven by anything else except by my conscious decision. Therefore, is it a weakness when you are being driven by it? I would consider it like this. But why is it there in the first place? Maybe to exactly display to you where your limitation is right now. What are the areas for you with the highest possibility for breakthrough? I'm actually more or less just preparing to get more and more to the unknown. I have no concrete idea where it's going to lead. But it just really came recently to my life that stop the planning. I planned the first half of my lifetime, the first 40 years was full of planning, was full of ideas that I try to put into the world, where I think I have to put something into the world. No, it's about balance. Now maybe it's time where I don't do the planning. I wait. There is simply this term of energy. Energy by nature, you cannot see it. Once energy starts to focus or concentrate itself in certain amounts, things start to take form. So that means everything that has a form, everything that starts manifesting, is a type of condensed, locked energy. How does the energy get locked? How does the energy condense? Energy follows intention or thoughts. This is where the energy goes. What you think about, this is the nourishment of the energy. You continuously place your intention in some direction, your thought in some direction. It's absolutely possible that this is the reason why things suddenly start to manifest and pop up visibly in your life. Because it's a lot of thinking power that went into there, which time over time started collecting, condensing so much energy, so much lifetime of yours, that it comes. So, in which direction can you now use this understanding? This ultimate creativity of the mind, this ultimate possibility of us humans being able to create something with the mind that at the moment doesn't even exist yet. Somebody must have seen something in the mind before even it was built. So everything starts here. You can use it to serve humanity, or use the creative power, creating all types of threats, horror scenarios, conflicts that are also possible to come. And this is now the question. For what are you going to use the power of the mind? Congratulations that the first very important step you have achieved, which is you can see yourself. You have realized that issue about yourself. You are able to see it, you are able to identify it, that it's present. Why? If you don't know where the problem is located, you cannot fix it. So we know where it is. In the way of how you expressed it exactly, there is something about habit going on. Habit meaning a continuous action which in a way always repeats over and over again. Something that repeats over and over again means there is some type of continuity or conditioning that took place. So who and what conditioned us to have these habits? People have different answers. The work, the society. So why is it you follow upon this trend or whatever it is? Something is conditioning you. You have been conditioned by something. By what? So find out by what. Is it your friends that you spend time around with all the time because they do it all the time, so you took over their habits? Number one is identifying from where are your habits coming from. And now there are two ways. Get rid of the habit. How? By replacing it with the habits you want to have. We humans are habitual beings, meaning what you do often, this you become. So if you want to cultivate something healthy right now, a more healthy lifestyle, that just means you need to do more healthy things on a regular basis. If you want to get rid of the habit of looking at the phone and the screen, what does it mean? You have to reduce that type of habit. How to do it? Minimize the amount of doing exactly that. You minimize of what you don't want to have in your lifetime, and you start to increase what you would like to replace it with. Sometimes people can't do it by themselves. What to do? This is why we have organizations, retreat centers, or things like this, workshops, seminars. These are always places where you get that support sometimes if you can't do it by yourself. I think the worst thing that could happen in this lifetime is that one day I get old, sit somewhere, look back at my life and say, I wasted my lifetime. This is maybe also related to fear. So really wasting my lifetime. Wasting the possibilities that have been given to me, but out of whatever reason, you were blind, out of whatever reasons you were distorted, and you missed it. This is something which is really like regretting. Therefore, very carefully, I started to ask myself how to avoid, how to minimize the risk that this day could come like this. And therefore, I became very, very aware and very careful also where I spend my energy. Is some ideas, how can I better channel it? How can I make use of the potential that I have? One way is of the things that I'm trying to share with you, because this is what I see. But on the other side, you can't have everything in this world. If you commit to one direction, sometimes it's not possible to at the same time be exactly as committed to another direction. Times are changing, the universe is changing, ideas are changing, preferences are changing, everything is changing. Humans are changing, I am changing. If you don't cultivate it, the master will not come out from you. It is you yourself who needs to do the work. You do the work with the right methods, and that master will come out. You are going to be your own master. You don't need to live the life for anybody else. Live it to the fullest possibilities of what you are capable of. And this is what I just expressed as self-mastery. Full responsibility about your own life. Since I entered this room, I'm here. So my mind is not fluctuating. I don't think about what I'm going to do later, what I'm going to do tomorrow. The only thing I know what is real is this conversation of you sitting opposite of me. This is like for me what matters. People can feel if you are with them or not with them. This is also the type of respect of knowing our time on this earth is finite. Let's respect. Let's give the necessary respect to the people you are spending your time with. And one way of expressing this is by being present. Because elsewise the question is just, why would you spend anywhere where you are walking if you don't really want to be there? If you think it's a waste of time to be somewhere, this is why you're drifting off. Why are you there in the first place? This idea of what is called as be in the here and now, be in the present moment. What does it actually express? It expresses alignment. And that's what very often may be missing. Alignment. Inside of yourself, you think about something. You think about what you really want, but your words say something differently. And your actions are also, again, a complete other area. So you think this, you say that, and you do this. And then it's like, okay, 3 areas. How should the power of the universe know what you want if you, for yourself, are already separated into 3 beings? But if what you carry in your heart, carry in your mind, speak out and act upon it, if all these 3 things are together, it's super easy for the universe, or however you call, to understand this is what he or she really wants. Here it is. Because there's no doubt about it. Because it's pure, because it's direct, because it's no disturbance, no interference. It's clear. And this is where I think like this power comes from. And this clarity of body, mind, thought, word, action, this you can only observe about yourself in the present moment. And this is why I think it matters in a way. If there is some influence you have upon your life consciously, then I think the best timing to do the adjustments is now. It's the present moment. If there's something to adjust about yourself, to take your life into your hands, let's say, it can only happen now. It's about opening. Opening the mind, opening the body, opening the senses, opening your awareness. Why? Because with awareness, everything starts. I need to be aware how many people are in this room. Then I can tell you how many people are in this room. I need to be aware he or she just said something. I think it was meant for me. You need to be aware of this. You need to be aware. All the time I was actually feeling quite comfortable and peace, but in the moment where he or she started to open his mouth, I felt I'm starting to move something inside of me. So it's awareness that opens possibilities up for you. It's the awareness to realize there's the chance right now, go for it. And this is why the beginning, this awareness is a very, very important aspect. Sometimes you are finding yourself in a period where you receive a lot of chances, a lot of possibilities. Sometimes you are in a time slot, no possibilities there. Just waiting and be happy about what you have. But sometimes those periods come where the possibilities start to add up. And then I think it is important to realize and become aware of them, to be able and take that decision, are you going to go for it or not? But being asleep all the time is difficult. And that is the reason you don't want to sleep right now. You want to be awake. You want to be awake and you want to be clear. Being awake and clear. Now your life is in your hands. Being numb, being under drugs, being smoky in the head is difficult. Be awake and be clear. And then fill up your energy tank. You think that because we are so well connected everywhere in the world, you can access quite a lot of information just by going on Google or on YouTube. Of course it feels like that. You are independent because you have access to the whole world just by sitting at home. Yes, this is a trend. This is a development which is going on now for quite some time and will still go on in the future until it will shift. And you will realize how much of a fantasy and how much of an illusion it is to think that you can live a life, or that living a life means that you're sitting at the chair, looking at the whole world and being connected with the world through the screen. If you are controlling something, it still means that that something you are trying to control is not a part of you. It's not a part of you because you control it. So we're talking about like two separate areas. I am here and this is what needs to be controlled. If I'm talking about adjustment, then what I mean is, whatever you try to adjust, you have gathered an understanding for it. You have made it become a part of your perception. And because it has become a part of your perception, a part of your life, let's say, that's why it's one with you. And if it is one with you, then it is something that we can now adjust. Sometimes people say, the people around me are stressing me. Okay, let's control the people around you. Let's take the best example. Think about the person that is the closest to you and that also knows you the best. Does that person always say the things or do the things or behave in the way how you expect this person to behave or do? We are talking about the closest person in your life. The closest one is even not in 100%, not even 50%, the way how you imagine him or expect him to be. And now we're talking about the society where other people, you saw them for the first time. So why should they behave in a way how someone personally expects? Now it's not family, now it's getting farther, it's just colleagues that you work with. Then maybe it is like the neighborhood that you are living in. Then sometimes you meet people from the city area. So the more far away we get, the less influence we have on them. So the idea of trying to change a human being out there, I also think it's wasted energy. Trying to use technology to control the external world, then we were talking about trying to control human beings in the external world, and in both cases I come to the conclusion it's not working. Apparently the stress and the worries and the fear, it arises somewhere, and that somewhere is individually always inside oneself. And this is that paradox part sometimes about this world, that you know when you are sad, the sadness sits inside of you. When you worry about something, it's your worry. Other people around you maybe see the issue too, but they don't worry. You worry. Nevertheless, we try to fix this issue. We try to look for the solution. Not inside of you, you try to find it out there. In our tradition, why we think this self-reflection is a very helpful method to really reflect about yourself. Think, look inside yourself. Because all of these things, all of these emotional states, they all take place inside of you. So if you want to adjust something about the way how you feel, the way how we feel, it's inside of us that we need to find the right points to trigger inside of me. If there is something that you can to 100% adjust and control in this life, it can only be yourself. If there is something which is 100% in your control, it must be yourself. What else should it be? If you think there is a possibility to master something, to take responsibility of something, it must be related first of all to your being. I think every human being in this world will get angry in this lifetime. And you will also, every time you get angry, you always have the chance also to see for yourself what does angriness do for you or do against you. The same as everybody in this world is going to get jealous. Sometimes about things, sometimes about people. We all gonna get jealous, we all gonna get angry, we all gonna get sad, we all gonna get depressed, we all gonna get frustrated, we all gonna feel joyful, we all gonna feel happy. The question now is, how are you placing them? How do you see the connection for yourself with all of these emotions? Angriness in this world, it's just like it's burning something that maybe you have collected for a long time. In Buddhist teaching, for example, is one saying, if you get angry, it's like you are lighting a fire, and this fire is burning all the wood that you have collected for many, many winters. This is like you get angry in a relationship. In this angriness, there is the energy, there is the power inside the anger, which can bring out words, bring out actions, and with these actions you can destroy quite a lot of what you have maybe built up for a long time in your relationships, in your family, with your friends. And so therefore we say angriness is a quite powerful force, and it's necessary that you get a good relationship to it in order to know how to adjust it for yourself. I have become very careful when I start speaking out or bringing out words, even if these words are only in the mind. Because once the words are out, it's very difficult to somehow take them back. It's like, for example, same like together with the example before, be careful if you talk to a friend or anything, just one insult, one wrong word in the wrong moment. Of course you can apologize, but it will never take back the spoken word. Your friend, your partner, they still remember. It's not in your hands anymore. So if you don't want that any word from you, because you spoke it, ever stays remaining in the world, you have to be careful what you bring out. And this is not just now the part where words can fall back to you. It is also meaning, if you use it in the proper way, how you can also shape your own mindset. Because if you think about, I cannot do it, when somebody says, hey, why don't you make the driver license? Anyway, I cannot drive. I can't do it. I'm scared. I'm frustrated. I'm too nervous. If this is the words you speak out, this is what you think, well, this is what's going to happen, I think. If someone is interested in saying, okay, Actually, I don't want to let my life be run by coincidence. I want to know how much real power do I have in my hands to create a life that is fitting to the way how I maybe imagine my life to be. It doesn't mean this life is going to be the way how you imagine. This is not what I said. The question is, how much is really in your hands as an individual, personally for yourself. You need to have a relationship to something, someone, doesn't matter how, which is greater than you. This can be you accept nature as your source. You accept God as your source. I think it helps to have a personal relationship to something that is superior in comparison to yourself. Really acknowledging and knowing and feeling and believing and trusting, and also having faith that there is something that is bigger than you or that is bigger than me, automatically gives you the humbleness. Gives you the humbleness to not exaggerate about whatever you are doing in this world. Because this is where sometimes the big fall comes. When you are overestimating yourself. When you think in the field of martial arts, there's nobody else anymore you can learn something from. No, exactly in the same way I think, yes, you can improve your life very, very much. But when do you think this improvement will stop? Well, I think it stops in the moment where you think you're good enough. Yes, good enough, but not in comparison to whoever made all of this possible. One of my thoughts right now is to have a personal belief, have faith in something that you continuously trust. I think it's important. Yeah. But this individual belief now, for example, has nothing to do with the teachings of body-mind connection. It's not good to throw around too many different areas of life, to throw them all in the same pot. They are in the same pot, but it's not useful, in the beginning at least, to throw it all together, not being able to differentiate. To differentiate, meaning that you know exactly, I am doing this and I am doing that because I want to improve, let's say, this area of my life. What's the sense of life? You give your life a sense. Before you start walking through the day with no sense of life, the easiest thing would be you give your life a sense, meaning you give yourself a purpose. Nobody can tell you, hey, this is not the sense of life. This is not the purpose of life. It's not about what other people say. It's about what makes you wake up in the morning liking to wake up, liking, or what is fueling yourself that you wake up. What are you looking forward to do? For some people it is, I like to express myself on the stage. I like to go and build on my cars. I like to express myself in playing the piano. Some people, I like to take care of animals. I like to write books in order to share knowledge with the world. It's all fine. If this is their purpose, if this is the mission you have put upon yourself, which is fueling you, this is one way where I think it's already better than having no direction. But at the same time also, in the beginning, everything is white, everything is pure, and then things become serious. This is where also nowadays different teachings, different insights come from, calling, sometimes it's necessary to bring out the inner child, sometimes it's called. Bring out the joy, bring the lightfulness, the lightness back. Why is the lightness gone? Because life has become too heavy. Too heavy with possession, too heavy with obligations, too heavy with responsibilities. There are many different things that can make one's life become and feel heavy. So you want to become pure again? You want to become light again? Well, it's time to cut off some things and not add on. The adding on is what this world already is propagating. This is what many people are living in. The world of adding stuff up. Why? We don't feel enough. That's why we keep on adding. But when will I finally be full? Never. With this approach, never. Because you keep on looking for the answer on the outside. But this year, we have to change our internal view on the world. What do you personally want to see in the world? What do you think is missing in the world? If you could be the creator of this world and you see something is missing right now to make this world the place how you would like to see it and live in it, what would it be? More kindness? More understanding amongst people? Good. Then you are the one who starts with it. You are the one who's going to initiate this movement. The movement of more kindness towards the people, more work for the community, more understanding, more connection, whatever it is you think is missing, that's already the next purpose. So the next mission of this life maybe, or can be, it might be your job to create. It might be your privilege to create. How many beings are there that are simply not born? They wished to be born. They wished to have the chance that we have, being able to just sit here in this room having a conversation. Why can we do this? Because we have been gifted with the body, we have been gifted with the ability that we can develop throughout the lifetime when we grow up. What we have, this life that has been given to us, like a present. It's like a gift to cultivate, to take as good care of it as possible. And automatically by thinking like this means you need to love this one. You need to like it, because this is what carries you on this journey. Without this one, you can't do any of your dreams. You cannot fulfill any of your wishes, because this is the one who started to manifest it. To make it become real, we need action. We need the real effort and work that has been done by the human body. And this is now exactly that relation. Why? This hard and intensive training regimen, together with what we call Buddhism. Why those two merge together so good? Because in the martial arts, it's all about the practice. It's about doing. You want to condition your body, there's a step-by-step instruction how to do it. You want to have a balanced, solid, joyful life, there's a step-by-step instruction how to do it. This is where martial art and the ideology of living this life, why they merge so good together. Because the principles are the same. The principles how to develop it is the same. This is like that special part why it has always been my emphasis in promoting movement first, the usage of the body first. We want to change the mind. We want that our life becomes better. But how do we do it? We need the action. We need the practice. And that one starts with the body. Very simple. To test yourself if everything that you have learned is still working under pressure means you have to be put under pressure. How does this combat, this fighting, this training how to fight, how does this help you with this idea of balance and harmony? It is because in the gym, when you do the hard workout, when you do the sparring, when you know how much you are able to sweat, how much pain you can take, how much pain you can give. Because of this experience, it makes you feel calm to walk on the street. This is why you can stay balanced. This is why external stimuli don't shake you off too much. because you have already experienced this way. How is it when your body and your mind is put between different extremes or into stressful situations? So the reason why to cultivate that strength, that discipline is that out here you can relax more. You don't need to be afraid. Walking sometimes alone in the dark through certain areas, there's no way to stay calm if you don't have some type of confidence inside of yourself. This is where it comes from. Yeah, we want the harmony, we want the balance, but how do you get it? Because you have put yourself before already, oftentimes to the test. If you have never witnessed, felt how is it to face somebody who also wants to hit you, then it's difficult. You can imagine in the mind how it is, but imagining is not the same like experiencing it. This is where I would say some type of satisfaction starts to rise. After you know that you have put yourself, either your mind or your body, through some certain threshold, meaning that some growth is starting to hit in, but because you have just challenged yourself before. The body must be used, then I think it's a good guarantee that the mind will be at ease. I can try and figure out what type of emotional state am I in right now. Yeah? So it means while I'm looking at you, while we drink tea, I can still with my mind actually do something else. You see? So be inside of me. But still, our conversation is going on. At the same time, it can also mean that inside something is cultivating, I just don't pay attention to it. Instead, I pay more attention to the outside. I pay more attention to how the tea tastes. So that means it's always there. Internal, external, it still is there all the time. It's just that we as humans have this ability to sometimes switch, to sometimes pay attention. Okay, now you want to pay attention to the external a little bit more. Okay, do it. Sometimes return back. Now the external, you let it stand still, you move internally. And then you find the balance, that what you have on the inside reflects one-on-one on the outside. Because then there is no internal and external anymore, there is just that one state of being. You're not switching worlds anymore, it's just that one type of experience. And this is something that can be practiced. But in order to connect, you first must know what is there existing that can be connected. And that is an external world and an internal world. And this is one expression. There is something you do externally, but it is affecting you on the inside. And no matter what it is, even if you start riding a bicycle, in order to ride a bicycle, you need the sense of balance. There is something that you are doing on the inside. The question is, are you aware of what exactly it is you are doing it? And so that's why we say there are so many different methods how to cultivate and how to slowly start establishing this type of connection. Also like doing only kitchen work, cutting vegetables. Because if you would have closed eyes, you know when the knife is touching the vegetable, because it goes hand in hand with a perception of feeling. You know when it's touching. So what does it mean? It means that there is something where you connect feeling with action. Internal sensation with movement. Internal sensation with movement. This is what we mean when your internal energies are aligned with your action. Another way is what we call Qigong. Qigong is that method to connect internal and external. So Qigong is breath work, simplified. And why do we say that breath work helps with the connection? It's because our breath is the only thing in this complete universe that is literally traveling always with every breath from inside world to outside world. Because the air, the oxygen comes from there and comes in and is then inside of you. So the air, we say, is that intermediate link between the internal world and the external world. This is why then on a later level, sometimes people become spiritual and say, Qigong is the key. Because it is that missing link between the external and the internal. This is why there are existing spiritual Qigong practices. Practices to build up that link. What is it afterwards when this body is gone? Well, the body at the moment is a carrier, is a vessel through which this energy at the moment is flowing through. So what happens if that vessel falls apart? I don't know what happens. But that amount of energy that you have cultivated is still existing. It might just search for another vessel to get into another exchange of internal and external. And this is why this Qigong is something very, very well known as a spiritual practice on the one side, but also to really just simply get in touch with this idea that you want to take more part in this life. You want to engage more in living a life. How do you do it? The easiest way. Learn how to breathe properly. Learn to use your breath as good as you can. Learn from resources that are available and learn the practices that go hand in hand with it. What is the quickest way? What is the way to improve your overall well-being? It's the way how you think, which is connected to the way how you talk. How are you acting throughout the days? Acting, not just meaning in terms of behavior. Action also meaning how are you using the body? Are you using your body in an intelligent, natural way? How are you breathing? How is your diet? How much time do you spend together with other people? How much communication do you have? On the one side, sharing, but all the time giving something out but never receiving something back is also not balanced. The physicality of what we are sharing is just the beginning. It's the entrance. It's the step into the door. The door to what? To slowly start and removing all the illusions and everything from your life that does not represent a proper way of life where you can build something up that is sustainable. I don't think you can build up a sustainable, a reliable way of life as long as inside this way of life you still have too many illusions popping up in there. Illusions meaning it looks the way what you think it is. The truth is, it's not. That means it makes sense to remove illusions from your eyes or to recorrect and recalibrate your mind to accept the fact that some things that you maybe imagine them to be so legendary, so mystic, in reality are not. Okay. As long as you have the feeling you don't have the answers yet, well, invest your time, invest your energy, and make the unknowing become known. How to do this? Not by listening, not by watching the media, not by watching the television, not by staying on Instagram all the time or on Facebook or all of the social media. There's only one way to get to it. Meet the people. This is an adequate way of figuring out if somebody has some energetic skills or not. And what is it that these meditation practices many times do. The meditation practice is what helps you to practice that this calms down. If there's dirt inside, the dirt will sink down to the floor. It maybe is still down here, but this one, it will be clear again. If it was shaky before and you do meditation, the shaking becomes less. This is why we call it mind exercising, training the mind. Train the mind to do what? To be calm, to stay clear. And with this clarity now we take decisions. Where there's left, there's right, where there's up, there's down, where's in is out. Now is day, later we have night, and in another 24 hours it's day again. Meaning for me, what goes up goes down, and after it goes down it comes up again. If I just expand this view on our lifetime, which is just a larger cycle, then what we maybe call life comes to an end, then starts what nobody knows more or less, afterlife. Yeah, and maybe after life comes life again. You can have the first failure, stay stubborn, and then you have the second failure. You still stay stubborn, you have the third one. You can stay stubborn and you will have the 20th failure. So this type of keep going, don't give up, no, this is not the proper way. You fail, you observe why did you fail. You try again, adjusting the reasons why you failed in the first one. If you fail again, well, of course you can try again, but of course with readjusting. You never fail the second time because of the same reason like the first time. That wouldn't make sense. So if you fail, then you find the reason why. With the second attempt, you have readjusted this. In this way, I think there's only one way that's going to lead to you're going to grow. Yes, that's the one thing. But that still means sometimes you try hard, you try hard, you try hard, you keep on failing, even with all the adjustments. Then there's the second alternative, what it could mean. It could mean that maybe it is your wish that you want to do this, that you want to succeed in it. But maybe it's not the wish of the universe. First of all, you don't need to change anything about what you're believing right now. If you are right now Christian already, it's no problem at all. You can stay Christian and still start learning about, okay, what are they saying in Buddhism? And some of the main teachings are, for example, the Four Noble Truths. This is when you start, okay, what is Buddhism? It starts with the Four Noble Truths. The first one is the life, the existence that we are living is connected with suffering. This is one of the core sentences. And now you have time to think about. The existence, the life that we are living in is consisting of suffering. If you say no, it's not true, well then you don't need to follow Buddhism. Then over here already the journey ends. Life is consisting of suffering. If you say, okay, sometimes I have happy moments, sometimes I have sad moments, but for sure I have already lost some animals, I already lost some family members, there was some suffering, my girlfriend left me, yes, I suffered. Yes, okay, I can agree, suffering exists in this world. Then you can already mark the noble truth number one as, okay, seems to be true. Second truth is, this suffering has a reason. The reason comes from greed, hate, or ignorance. So the reason why we suffer is either because of greed, we want more than we need, of hate, we get something we don't want to have, or ignorance, or sometimes called not knowing, because we don't know the outcome of our actions. Out of these three things, all the suffering in the world is coming from. To simplify, let's say I lost a person that I love, let's say. Then you suffer. Okay, why do you suffer? Yeah, because you had the connection to what you loved. But to what you love, meaning you want to try to keep something inside of your life, that it stays as it is. But this is not the nature of things anymore. In this complete universe, things don't stay as they are. So in the moment you want something which is not possible to hold on to, the suffering is already like integral part of it. This is one explanation why we say it's not a problem to have a relationship. It's not a problem to have a partner. It's not a problem to have a nice car. The problem is you get attached to it. The attachment is the problem, or is the issue that is going to bring you the suffering afterwards. So one is greed, other one is hate. You don't like the financial department, but they keep on coming. That also sometimes causes suffering. But things you cannot change. So that means in the moment, every time you have any type of aversion, any type of hate against something, and it still comes, this is also like one reason for the suffering. And the third one is like the ignorance. Ignorance meaning sometimes we do actions, we don't know what the future will bring, but still we do them. And then somehow, because of the karma, because of the consequence, it's still gonna come back to us, causing us some suffering. The third noble truth is, when the reasons for the suffering end, greed, hate, ignorance, when this falls away, no more greed, no more hate, no more ignorance, if this falls away, the suffering falls away. So that means there is an end, there is a way how to end the suffering. This is the number 3. And the fourth one is the so-called Noble Eightfold Path. It's 8 steps, 8 areas of each human's life to pay attention on and always try to improve these 8 areas. This is then a step-by-step instruction how this personal suffering starts to decrease and decrease. And this is called the Noble Eightfold Path. This, I would say, are the main teachings in all Buddhist traditions, and if people are interested in that, they will find plenty of it. If somebody comes up and gives me a philosophical question or a philosophical opinion, I think about it. But I really try to get the part out that somehow has to do, let's say, with fantasy world, imagination, illusion. And why I mention this is because this Qigong, just think about it. From the moment on that we are born, our lungs start to breathe. Inhale, exhale. Until today, our lungs never made a mistake. You have never inhaled one time more than you have exhaled. So that means our lungs already keep a certain rhythm. The heart keeps a certain rhythm. This earth never stopped turning. The moon never stopped turning. So one thing I can see is circular movement, repetitive movement, reoccurring movement is part of the world we're living in. And at the same time now, if I think about, okay, people mention Qigong, which is breath work. This breath work is very close related to the quality of life. The more Qi you nourish, the more Qi you have, the more energy you have, the more you can do with it in this lifetime. And now I switch back and think, okay, Qi, breath, oxygen, breathing. You look at our oven down in the basement. If we want to create more heat, if you want to create something more than it is right now, it's not just we need more wood. We need to open the valve more, that more oxygen streams in. If you maybe heard about how people are trying to increase the performance of an engine, it also means somewhere along the line you need to have more air intake. More air plus more fuel injection, or however you put it in there, that equals more performance. And so for us humans, it means you need to eat, you need to breathe that amount of necessary air inside of your body, and then the process of creating energy that you then can make useful with your body, then it can start. So you can see all of this chi and energy as something like philosophical, esoteric, but for me it's real. It's very logic for me.